Welcome. Let me just turn on Instagram. Oops, I have to do that from another tab. Give me just a minute so that I'm going live on Instagram as well. So, welcome to my weekly vlog. I am so I do this on Sunday afternoons, and it's usually always an interesting weekend. Sometimes we have meetings. Sometimes we don't. I used to work all through the weekend, and lately, since I've been sick, I've been taking it like a little slower, and I've been taking some downtime. But I want to talk about something that I'm not quite sure why I want to talk about it because it's something that bothers me a great deal. So, but I decided that somehow talking about it um anyway. So here's what happened. And I want to go back to the quote that I often um often every single time we have an event, every single time we have a webinar. Give me 1 second. I wasn't planning on bringing up this, but I am. So let me get it. It's the quote on befriending your body. And you all have seen this a lot if you've been around at all. I am going to share my screen and I'm going to read it because I want to talk about it because I'm thinking that I might not be the only person who has this kind of stuff going on. So here it is. Give me 1 second. This technical stuff takes a minute. So let me just make sure that you can see this. You probably can't. Nope. Oh, yes, you can. So there it is. Let me make this as big as I can make it. So you should be now seeing my quote. I say my quote. I so I have to say I want to talk about the quote and then I want to talk about what I want to talk about. So this isn't going to be right dive into it. This is going to be gently entering this topic. And I said to my body softly, I want to be your friend. It took a long breath and replied, I have been waiting my whole life for this. And I said to my body softly, I want to be your friend. It took a long breath and replied, I have been waiting my whole life for this. Um, so we're here because we share lipedema. We share, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Um, we share possibly other issues having to do with body and body image. Hi, Julie. I'm so glad you're here. Let me know who's here. I know there's um, at least 20 of you here. So put your name and where you're from so I can say hi and then we can continue. Or I'm going to continue. And then if you would let me know who's here, that would be great. So this battleground, if you will, I realized today that I'm 75 years old and I've been in this battle. I've been in this battle zone, I would say. Hi, Sandra from Kentucky, and Cheryl from Washington State, and Maria from Idaho. And so, welcome, welcome, welcome. Let me know as I'm chatting about this if this is something that you can relate to. Um, Linda from Washington State, and Jerry. Hi, Jerry from Pittsburgh. Um, thank you all. There's my heart. So, I wish I could remember how young I was. I was so young. I mean, when I look back on it, I think I was 3 or 4 or 5. I was like extremely young when I realized that somehow I was different. And the difference was related to my body. Um, that somehow I was bigger than others. I think my mother was so worried about my being fat. I think that that was part of what might have created it. Um, she said, so my dad's family had a lot of weight issues in his family. His sisters were large bodied women, they were fat. Um, my dad had a tendency towards overweight. Um, so when my sister was born, there's 2.5 years between us. So I would have been 2.5. My mother said that I stayed with my dad's family while she was in the hospital having my sister, and that in the few days that I was at my dad's family's house, I got fat. I was 2.5. I tend to think it may have been way out of proportion, but whether that was true or not, I think I believed it. So, hi, Laura. I'm from Wisconsin, and Jerry. Um, and who else? Let's see. Oh, Paige. Hi, Paige. Amelia. Wow, what a from Niagara Falls on the Canada side, not the US side. Wow, what a great group of women. Thank you all. All right, so let me talk more about this because I just got very encouraged by having you all here. So, from as long as I can remember, there was something fundamentally wrong, fundamentally wrong with my body. And my job was to fix it or not fix it or rebel against it or try and figure out the best way to live with it, which was before I knew, way before I knew about lipedema, or that possibly something had some kind of a organic impact. Um, so I want to talk about the identity, that there's something about the identification. You guys all know Bella by now. She comes and purrs away while we're doing Wow, What a Ride. She's such a blessing in my life. Um, Wait, there's more people coming in. Christine, nice to see you. We have to chat. We need to find a time to get onto Zoom. Sandra. Yeah, this is what Sandra says. It's frustrating always having something. I move forward, then something gets me down again. Oh my God, here's someone else. Maria, I remember being about 3, looking down and seeing my spare tire belly and wondering why. My family also had weight issues, but not as bad as me. I'm 66, been fighting the stigma of overeating, and I made myself like that, like this. Um, so there's something that we do. Hi, Kathleen. Hi, Marcia. Um, about how we perceive ourselves and the perception of ourselves, how we live into creating that perception. Like, I wonder at age 3, as Maria just shared, or me at age 2.5, almost 3, how much was real and how much was, again, the perception. I think, you know, in all fairness, it was my mother's fear um, that there would be issues. Food was very much an issue in my family. Food, and um, there was always this. Um, well, I come from Italian heritage, and that heritage has a lot of self worth in the food that is created. And so the family would have all these specialty Italian dishes, which to this day I love. And, so there was always this, manja, manja, manja. That means eat, eat, eat. And yet there was this eat, but don't eat too much. Eat, but make sure you're thin. Anyway, so all of these very complex messages. And I have spent really a lifetime navigating it, um, navigating my own sense of self, navigating my own body. Um, I remember when I finally figured out about lipedema. So I found the 12 steps and Overeaters Anonymous, and I started in OA in the mid 80s, I think 86, 87, and got abstinent in their low carbohydrate plan, and which was 3 weighed and measured meals, nothing in between except coffee, tea, or diet soda or water. And I did that for years and years and years. And it was the only thing that I found that worked over time. And for over 30 years, 27 years, I think, um, I lost and maintained a 140-pound weight loss. I was well over 300 when I started, 300 pounds. And I loved, oh my God, I was in heaven when the weight started to come off because I had tried everything under the sun and nothing worked. So when the weight started to come off, I was like, oh my God, this is magic. And then, as I said, I maintained it. I kept it off the weight I had a couple of periods that were very difficult and relapsed and went back to, never really back to binge eating, but into having weight gains. And then perimenopause happened. And I say this because it's so related to our journey with lipedema. I got an email this week, which is what prompted me to want to chat about this, about someone who had hit perimenopause and it had a significant weight gain, which is what happened to me. I didn't realize at the time that I was in perimenopause, but I was indeed in perimenopause. And I remember looking down at my, I was at, I was a professor, just retired recently, like this week. um, but I remember having a group of students at my home. We were doing some kind of something. I always would have the students for various and sundry little events. And I remember looking down at my legs and being surprised because there was this spread in my thighs that hadn't been there before. And I'm like, what happened? I don't understand it. And as I look back on it, it was the exacerbation of the lipedema that I had under control with diet without knowing that the low carbohydrate diet that I was eating was actually helping everything. When I look back, I feel very blessed that I found that low carbohydrate food plan because I think it gave me like that 20 plus years I talk about, it really helped. And I remember going through that period, um, with its ups and downs and, good days and bad days and everything, but through it feeling, oh my God, it's like finally something that works. And then with perimenopause, which hit me in my 50s, and it stopped working, it was like, oh my God, what can I do? How do I change this? What can I do to make this different? Um, I just want to check in the chat. Oh, Lisa's here. Hi, Lisa. Oh my God, I love that. I just have to say, Paige says, I love how Bella looks at you like you are the most important human on earth. Precious. My feelings exactly. Thank you. Um, Hi, Lisa. So good that you're here too. So, this whole body and weight journey and finding, so I often talk about it as kindness, as gentleness, because I have truly known the harshness of it, um, and the incredible abandonment. It's like, how many times, how many moments did I abandon myself because of my self judgment, because of my self. Oh, it's like I just want to go like this, like crushing, like feeling crushed. Um, oh, it's so fascinating. I want to share this with you. My mom, Maria says, my mom was German and had the same attitude to eat, but you're fat, so don't eat. And she put me on diets very young. I was the most active kid on the block and still didn't lose. Every year when they weighed us in school, I would gain 10 pounds a year. I was 96 pounds in the first grade. I lost a little in my late 20s and thought, finally, my metabolism is working. Nope, the weight came back. So, for many of us, we have this relationship with food, with our bodies, with our sense of self, our sense of identity, and our judgment, self judgment, what that feels like. And please, I would do anything to change it. Anything. I mean, the crazy things that I have done in my life, from having, the Blackburn fast is very big here in the Boston area. Blackburn was an obesity medicine specialist that started the long term fasting. And I did a 90-day fast where I didn't eat for 90 days. Not thinking much of it. I'm like, I would, like I said, I would do anything to control it. The problem is that it whacks the metabolism so out of kilter. Um, there was the folks from The Biggest Loser. They did a uh, study, and they found that, let me say, the simple version is that it took a lot less food to lose weight because their metabolism was so skewed with the weight loss on the TV show. It's an interesting study if you ever get a chance to look at it. It says essentially, which we all know from our experience, that dieting doesn't work. It's like a spike up and down and up and down and up and down. And what I loved about my low carbohydrate plan, where I was weighing and measuring, is I weighed and measured a certain amount, and it was like slow and steady. And over 2 years, I had lost 140 pounds and was happy. I was, moving in my body again. And never would I ever have imagined that I would regress, that I would end up again dealing with these issues, which came, I think, part of my motivation, part of what moved me. When I first started to discover lipedema, which was in 2010, maybe 2010 or 11, right around there, which is when I started to gain weight. Unexplained. Why am I gaining weight? I'm eating the way I've always eaten. I'm actually lowering, I'm eating less um, bacon. I used to love bacon. You know, I'm eating less bacon. I'm eating more salmon. Things like that. I'm eating less squash, which is a high carb food, and I'm eating more kale. Why am I gaining weight? Well, it's understanding now that lipedema was kicking in through my hormonal changes. And so I found some answers. I decided to journey. I found some answers. And then it was so fascinating because why am I here still? Mm, maybe 14, 15 years later, I found answers. I knew what was working, what wasn't working, what I could do, what I couldn't do. But I heard so many stories. I heard so many stories um, about going to see a doctor and not getting listened to, not being heard, um, searching for answers, for connection. And the simple truth of it is, God knows, is I felt like I couldn't move forward without sharing what I had found out and inviting whoever wanted to. It- the way I've always done everything is here's what I'm doing, here's what I'm learning. Come join me. We'll find out together. That's like Dr. Carmody, who I adore, has said again and again and again, the wisdom is in the patient. The wisdom is within us. When we get together and we talk, I learned so much. I give a lot, but I also receive a lot. And that seems to be the bottom line of our community. And so I'm going to share something about all of this, which is that we have some breakthroughs that are happening. Um, I'm just looking because there's so much going on in the chat. I wish I could do everything. Uh, so we spent a couple of years writing a paper. It's called proposed framework for research case definition for lipedema. It is a seminal paper. There were 10 authors. Dr. Dr. Stan Roxon, who really is the top researcher and clinician in the lymphatic field, was our lead senior author. And there were 10 of us, including him, several of the top folks from Europe, as well as Leslyn Keith and me, and Monica Wahi, who was an epidemiologist, Dr. Carmody, who most of you know, and Siobhan Huggins, Dr. Gabrielle Faber from Germany, Dr. Isabel Codora from Spain, Dr. Rapprich from Germany, Dr. Sandro Michelini, who's from Rome and just an incredible doctor, and of course, Dr. Roxon. So, we worked on defining it, getting, when you get to that point of definition, this is it, this is not it, this is what happens. Not only were we able to define it and come up with a case definition, that case definition then is a diagnostic tool because it says if this is present, this is lipedema. If this is not present, this is not lipedema. So I'm in awe and I'm grateful. I'm grateful to you guys for showing up. Number one, it's like everything else I do. I say to myself, well, I'll do this. If it works, then I'll keep doing it. If it doesn't, then I'll stop doing it. And I do these vlogs every week. I love doing them. I love it. I just love hanging out and talking to you like you were sitting here across. I'm in my recliner and that you were sitting in this other chair with me and we're having a cup of tea. Yeah, like that's what it's like. This is what's going on. This is what I'm thinking about. And then I hear from you. Oh my God, go drink tea. Does drinking tea give you lymphedema? No, because I drink a lot of tea. Hi, Angela. Oh my God, it's so good to see you. And Gloria. Yeah, right. Doing everything you can and having people think that you're cheating. Like all this insanity that we live with. Not here, not in this community. In this community, when someone says, I've been doing the best that I can, I've been doing whatever I need to in order to serve this body, and we know and we believe you, and we offer and extend a hand of help. Um, I'm going on and on and on today. I'm just so happy to be chatting with you. Um, so, a couple of things. I have introduced you all to Lisa Dore, who is managing director, managing partner, has been an amazing contribution to everything we do at Lipedema Simplified and Lipedema Project, who is moving into, we're transitioning. She is going to be doing way more of the decision making, moving into the lead leadership for Lipedema Simplified, which is amazing that she showed up. And she's been encouraging us to be out there more. And so it's taken me a whole freaking half an hour to get to what I want to talk to you about. So I'm here with you guys because you're my family and I can be here with you. But most of you know that I took a flight to South Carolina in November of 2022 and ended up with some very severe lymphatic dysfunction, central lymphatic dysfunction, which meant that literally overnight my body blew up. I literally gained like 20 pounds overnight, and it was all fluid. When we tried to figure out what was going on, so few people know about the lymphatic system. I ended up with really from November of 2022, I'm now starting to feel better, but I had 2 surgeries last year. I was finally identified with severe lymphatic dysfunction, central lymphatic dysfunction. Oh, good. Lisa, by the way, Lisa put the link. Thank God for Lisa. Put the link to the paper that I was talking about in the chat. So, well, what happened is I blew up. There, no matter what I did, I could do keto till the cows came home, and the cows did come home in my fridge. He had lots of beef for a former vegetarian. This is a big deal. Anyway, yeah, so then I've been dealing with swelling and bloating that I can't seem to control. And no matter what I do, it's like, the only thing that seems to work is fasting. And since there is, I mean, even with the long-term fasting that I did when I was much, much younger, I still can't, I can do it. Like I did a 7-day fast a couple months ago, and it was difficult. And it helped to control the swelling. But then as soon as I started to eat again, the swelling came back, which is part of the sluggish transport of the lymphatic system. So I'm going to go back to where I started, which is how do I befriend this body? What is it? Let me go back to that quote. I'm going to read it and not I'm not going to put it up on the screen again, but I am going to read it in a minute. Here it is. And I said to my body softly, I want to be your friend. It took a long breath and replied, I have been waiting my whole life for this. And so, at least for today, I'm going to invite you along with me to see what that means for you. I know what it means for me. As I said, Lisa's been encouraging that we do some videos. I want to do videos because I'm all swollen. I was talking to Leslin and we were looking, I was looking at some teaching that I had done before I went down to South Carolina, and my face was beautiful. When I look back on it now, it was not puffy. It was not, I didn't have cheeks like apples. And I had a chin and a neck. which is now all filled with fluid. No matter how much self MLD I do, I can never seem to get it down to where it was before. Maybe it will go down again, and maybe it won't. But in the meantime, am I the swelling, or am I more than the swelling? Is there something that I have in me? I mean, what motivated me to be doing this all these years is that I just couldn't see anyone going through what I went through. I kept saying to myself, oh my God, if I can make it easier for just one person, it will have been worth it. That's actually something in the 12 steps. I can't remember the exact quote, but it's something like, all of the craziness and suffering you've had in your life will have meaning. It's sort of like my mess is my message. And my message is you can love yourself. If I could do it, oh my God, when I started, I cannot tell you the level of self hatred. I still dip into it now and again, but oh my God, I am kind and gentle and much more patient with the process. I am over. I am way over my 20 minutes. But I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank you for being on this journey too, um, because it is not easy. And I want to make a couple of quick announcements, which is Lisa and I started doing a Monday morning live, sort of like a mini podcast, when we were prepping for the event that happened. We did 6 weeks of it. It's 11 a.m. on Monday mornings, Eastern Time. It's 8 a.m. Is that right? 8, 9, 10. Yeah, it's 8 a.m. on the West Coast. So we wanted to do it at the time when we thought, oh, people will be able to listen when whatever they're doing. Monday morning's a good time. So we did a 6 week little thingy, which was a blast. We had so much fun with it. And we got so many as we were winding down. The last one was scheduled right after the event, which was April 12th, 13, and 14. So our last one was scheduled for the 15th. We got so many requests to keep it up, so we decided to do that. So we're now doing Monday morning podcasts. It's called Heart to Heart, Navigating Lipedema Together. And I have the great fun to hang out with Lisa. And sometimes we have guests and sometimes we don't. And between the two of us, we can chat for as long as you want. But we try and keep it clean and clear and succinct and have conversations not unlike these that are really about the issues that we deal with lipedema. Um, so it's an open invite. Come join us. It's on very similar to this. It's on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and LinkedIn. I think that's it. The major social media channels. And I want to also invite you, if you haven't already, we have a CSIG. Our CSIG is our Coaching Special Interest Groups. CSIG, Coaching Special Interest Group. Years ago, we did a survey of the community and said, where do you want support? And we got a whole listing. Everybody's voice was heard. We calculated who wanted this and that. And we came up with a few topics that we run every year now. So let's see, it's now 5:40 at Eastern Time. So at 7 p.m., so an hour and 20 minutes from now, we have a CSIG on nutrition with Gail Straker and Carrie Reedy. Carrie Reedy is our medical nutritionist. She's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And we're going to be having a 4 weeks. It runs for 4 weeks, and there's a class where there's learning and new information usually, and there's coaching in another. So there's 2 nights a week. I'm going to put the link here for you. I have to find the link. Let's see. And just give me a second. I'm getting the link for you guys. And I found it. Here it is. So let me come back here. Okay, here's the link to the CSIC. Did it come in chat? Oh my God, so much. Okay, here it is. Okay, learn.lipedema-simplified.org/CSIG-nutrition. That will take you to the page. There's still time to sign up, and there's still spaces available. Though, yeah, it's a nice size group now. It's about 20 now. So I usually love them around that size, but we've had them way bigger and they've worked. So come if you want. We'd love to have you. And I think the thing that I want to close with is that listening to our bodies, listening to my body is possibly the hardest thing that I've ever done and the most rewarding. There've been so many times when I look back when I would have liked to have been able to navigate a different pathway. That's what it comes down to. And yet, every single step has led me to where I need to be. And for that, I continue to be grateful. And I'm not sure why, but I have been chatty Cathy today. Much love to all of you. Have a wonderful week. I'm sure there's more, but next Sunday I'll be here at the same time, same place, and we'll have more conversation. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being a part of our community and being a part of our exploration and finding ways to really live well, heart to heart with lipedema. So I love you. So happy for you.